Did you know that there was only one monster in the Universal Monster era that had the same actor portraying him in every film? Well, if you didn't stick around, because on Monster Movie Madhouse, we're talking about 1941's The Wolfman, starring Lon Chaney Jr. Let's get into it! So it's no secret that Universal has always had a fascination with werewolves. In 1931's Dracula actually does turn into a werewolf. It happens off screen, but it happens. But after the success of Frankenstein, studios started to become more interested in more beastly makeups and characters. Just look at Paramount's Island of Lost Souls. Director Robert Florey had actually written a treatment for the Wolfman, and it was intended to be another star vehicle for Boris Karloff. But the studio was a little afraid of Catholic backlash, and they decided not to pursue the project. Then in 1935, they produced Werewolf of London, which used some of Florey's original ideas, and they took liberal inspiration from James Whale's Invisible Man. Makeup designer Jack Pierce had actually made a more wolfish look for the film, but the studio told him to back off a little bit, thinking it might be too scary or shocking for audiences. And so you get this makeup where you can really see the actor's face, but there's a little bit of a wolf element to it. Now, as we got to the early 1940s, Universal had stopped making horror films as prestige pictures and relegated them more to B-movie status. And so when they wanted to revitalize the horror genre, they were looking for a new face. Enter Creighton Chaney, or as you might know him as, Lon Chaney Jr. Lon Chaney Jr. started acting after his father passed away, and trying to make a name for himself with his birth name. But the studio kept telling him, maybe you should try going by Lon Chaney Jr. And he really didn't like that idea. He and his father didn't really get along very well. Lon Chaney Sr. really didn't want the younger to act, so you can understand why he didn't want to go by his father's name. But of course he finally relented, yet still things weren't working out. That would all change when a production of John Steinbeck's Of Mice and Men was put up in Los Angeles, and he went and auditioned. And wouldn't you know it, he was cast as Lenny. His performance was so well received that he was cast in the movie and received similar acclaim. Finally, Chaney had broken through, and Universal had found their man. They tested him out in another horror movie called Man-Made Monster, and he really shines in it. So the studio figured, we've got our central star, and immediately cast him in the Wolfman. Now for the makeup, Jack Pierce used smaller pieces to suggest wolf features, but it allowed Chaney to move his face. Now in the original script, the transformations weren't supposed to be on screen. In fact, it was supposed to be ambiguous if Larry Talbot was even the Wolfman in the first place. But of course, this is Universal, and this is a monster movie. Gotta give the people what they want. The movie was well received upon release, and to this day is still considered a premier horror movie. And like I said, in that era, Lon Chaney Jr. was the only actor to play the Wolfman. Pretty cool, huh? So what do you think of Wolfman? Get in the comments and let me know where he ranks for you in the Universal Pantheon.